Hi bakers! I want to show you my dinner tonight. Tonight I am making a dish called poutine. So poutine is a Canadian dish that came around in the 1950s, and actually when it came out it was in Quebec. It kind of was mocked for a while. It wasn't high class enough, but now it's a very popular dish all over Canada, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's fries, French fries, smothered in gravy and topped with fresh cheese curds. I don't know what crazy person would make fun of that. Sounds delicious, which is what I'm gonna have for dinner tonight. I'm very excited. I know that sounds like super unhealthy dinner, but gotta live a little bit. I actually am gonna add some chicken to make it a little more substantial, and I don't have fresh cheese curds, so I'm just gonna use regular cheese because I do have that. But I'm gonna get started first on the French fries. So I am not making a traditional deep fried French fry for a couple of reasons. One, it's not very healthy, and trying to not gain that quarantine 15. So try not to deep fry stuff. Also, it's kind of messy and hard to do. Maybe I'll fry something for you guys later, but it's already not that healthy of a dinner tonight. So I'm actually gonna bake my French fries. So I'm going to start with potatoes, and these are Yukon Gold potatoes, and they are my personal favorite potato for basically everything potato related. And that's because they kind of already have this butteriness flavor to them, and butter and potatoes taste fantastic together. So we're going to oven roast these. So I'm going to get these cut real quick, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to cut them up. And then we're going to season them, and we're going to put them in a really hot oven. So I'm gonna bring you down here with me. Yes, you can see me. Great. So I'm gonna start with my potato, and I always want to create a flat edge because this is very dangerous if I try to cut like this. So I always want to start with a flat edge. So I'm gonna cut one piece off, and now way safer, right? So then I can cut my French fries. And you can do them, kind of big, kind of small, whatever you really want to do, as long as they're consistent in shape so that they cook evenly. I'm going to do them a little bit on the smaller side because I'm hungry and I'm trying to eat. Just like that for the ends. And then I can take all of these slices that are all together, turn them up, and cut through the whole stack. Remember to keep your bare claw so you're not cutting your fingertips off. Yikes! Nobody wants to go to the hospital right now. Don't cut your fingertips off. Cut just like that. You can see I did not peel my potato. You can peel your potato. Personally, I really like the taste of potato peel, so I'm going to leave mine on. Also, it's way quicker and easier to leave the skin on, which is nice because I'm hungry now. So I'm not going to peel them. You can, whatever you want to do, it's up to you, but I like it. So I'm going to get all of my potatoes cut, and then I'm going to show you the next step. All right, my potatoes are all cut up. So now it's time to get them ready for the oven. So the first thing we want to do is coat them in some sort of fat with a high smoke point. So we're going to put this in a really, really high oven. So whatever fat we choose needs to be one that won't burn at really low temperatures. So butter, for example, will burn at a kind of a low temperature. So if we're putting it, we're actually going to use a 450-degree oven. If we put butter in, it's going to burn, and then it's going to get really, really bitter. So we want to pick a fat that has a high smoke point. So fats you can use olive oil, you can use vegetable oil, oven's ready. You use bacon fat, which is delicious. I'm actually going to use goose fat today. So for Christmas, my father-in-law cooked us a whole goose, and it was delicious. And after it was cooked, we took all the drippings and we let them cool, but we separated the fat from it and we froze it because roasting potatoes in particular in goose fat or duck fat is delicious. But you probably don't have goose fat. Maybe you do. That'd be awesome if you did. But bacon fat is a really, really, really awesome one. Olive oil also going to be delicious. It's all going to be good. I didn't say this was healthy. I says healthier than frying, right? So I have my goose fat that I just microwaved because I had to take it out of the freezer. And I'm gonna just kind of spoon it over, and I'm gonna toss it here in a second with my fingers just to make sure all the fries are all coated. That's gonna help them get nice and crispy. And then I'm gonna season it. So you could pretty much season this with whatever you want, whatever you think is gonna taste good with your final product. Today I am gonna use this seasoning blend. So funny thing, as a chef that you will probably find if you continue on in this career, is that people like to give you spice blends as presents, which is ironic because we usually come up with our own spice blends. So I'm constantly trying to find ways to use the spice blends that I'm gifted. So we're gonna use this one because it smells delicious, and it is a rosemary and garlic mix. And I think it's gonna be really, really great on our fries. Whenever you're using a pre-made seasoning mix, you always wanna check and make sure, or just to see how much salt is in them. Many seasoning blends, if the first ingredient is salt, if that's the first ingredient, that means that's the biggest quantity. So if you use a seasoning blend and then add a ton of salt, your final product may be very, very, very salty. So you just want to be careful of that. So I'm just going to sprinkle this on, and this one has a lot of salt, so I'm actually probably just going to use this. I'm not going to actually use any salt. So that looks good. You know what? I should bring you down here so you can see what I'm doing. So actually, you can see I have 2 sheet pans. It's really important for it to be like one even layer. It's just going to make it so the fries bake really evenly. So I'm just going to coat these, make sure all of my potatoes, so you can see, let's see. See how shiny this one is and that one's not? I can't tell if you can see that. But anyway, if it's dull, it's not coated in fat. So they need to make sure that all of your fries are nice and shiny and covered in fat. Don't add a ton of fat though. You want them just coated. If you add a ton of fat, your fries are going to end up really greasy, and just kind of like with regular French fries, if you got them and they weren't drained very well and they're really greasy, they're just not very good. So once they're all combined and the seasoning's evenly distributed, I'm going to spread it back out, nice and even, spread out one layer. Do that with the other pan, and then I'm going to get them into my 450-degree oven, and I'm going to check on them periodically, and I'm going to toss them periodically. If I don't toss them while they cook, they're going to burn on the bottom before they get crispy on top, and I want them to be crispy everywhere. So my fries have been in the oven for about 20 minutes, and they're starting to get a little crispy. So you can probably hear it, that they're getting crispy. So I just want to give them a quick toss. I want to make sure this last little bit in the oven that they are going to get evenly crisp. So obviously that's pretty important for a fry. Just toss them. Try to make sure they're in a flat row. You probably shouldn't do this because it's really hot, but my fingers don't have that much feeling left anymore. You do it quick, it's not bad though. But you should probably use tongs or something else. One flat row. And I do have 2 pans in here. So I'm actually gonna rotate their order because our ovens don't cook evenly, remember. So this one's gonna go on the bottom. I'm going to pull this one off the bottom. I'm going to toss this, and now this one's going to go in the top. Alright, so while my fries are in the oven, I'm going to work on the gravy. So I'm going to start off with some butter in here, and then I'm going to saute some onions and garlic. So a traditional poutine usually calls for shallots, and shallots are like a tiny little onion. They're like this big and this wide, and they're a little bit milder, but I didn't have shallot. So I'm going to use some fine diced onion as soon as my butter is melted. Alright, so my butter's melted and my pan's nice and hot, so I'm going to add my really finely chopped onions. And this is only 1/4 of an onion, since this process usually calls for a shallot, and the shallot is so small, so this is only 1/4 of an onion. You should be able to hear that it's nice and hot. So I'm going to cook that until it gets nice and translucent, which should go pretty quickly because it's so small. When it's ready, I'm going to add my garlic in. And I wanted to show you because I thought this was interesting. I've never gotten this before, but I went to the farmer's market today and I actually got fresh garlic. So this is how it came, with this kind of stalk on top. I'll have to research what I can do with this stalk because I've never used it before. But if nothing else, I could freeze this and put it in my stock later and give this awesome garlic flavor. It's also kind of cool, so since this is a pretty young garlic, he kind of looks more like an onion, but man, does he smell like garlic. Whew, delicious. Just something I've never seen before, so I thought I'd share with you. All right, so that, like I said, goes pretty quickly. Already got some color and it's already a little translucent. So I'm going to go in with my garlic, and garlic burns really quickly, so I want to add it at the last second. I'm only going to cook it for a little bit so I don't burn it all. Pause. Alright, so it's cooked. So now I'm going to add equal parts of flour to the amount of butter that I added. And that's going to create a roux. Hopefully you guys remember making roux when we made our sausage gravy biscuits way back then. You can see how thick that just got. So I want to toast my flour a little bit. Depending on your cuisine, a lot of times a roux is just kind of like blonde or white. But the longer you cook it, the deeper the color it gets, the more flavorful the roux is. Very common in New Orleans cooking to have like a really, really dark roux. I don't want to get it too dark, mostly because I'm getting very, very hungry. And that's the timer for my French fries, and hopefully my sous chef will grab me a whisk. Thanks, sous chef. So I can do the next part. Nice having the sous chef. Alright, so that is ready to go. So I'm going to add some stock. Poutine is usually a mixture of chicken and beef stock, but I only have chicken stock. You saw me make it. This is the chicken stock that I made the other day. So I'm just going to slowly add, and again, I didn't really measure any of this stuff, so I might use not all of this. I might need a little bit more. I'm just going to watch the thickness. So like right now I've added some, but you can see it's pretty thick. And I definitely want my gravy to have some thickness, some body, but I don't want it to be crazy thin either. So you can see when as it comes back to a boil, that flour will start to thicken it up. Got a second while I check on my potatoes. I believe they up and they are done. So they can rest right here for a second. So this is going to be really delicious because I don't know if you remember from my stock video, but this was a smoked chicken. So actually this gravy is going to taste really smoked, which is going to be fantastic. Let's see if I can find somewhere to put this. All right. So I can still add a little bit more. Real life cooking right here. My smoke detector is quite finicky. Can you tell? I didn't even burn anything, but Anytime I use my oven on a crazy high heat, like 400 or higher, and I bake anything, let me turn that off actually, and then I open it later, it always goes off. Alright, so I'm going to let that thicken up a little bit more, and I'll come back to show you seasoning. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with the consistency of my gravy. So now I'm going to season a little bit. I just tasted it, and it's actually pretty salty because I put in some of the drippings from my chicken. Ah, it's so good. So I'm also going to continue seasoning. I'm going to add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. It's going to give it a little bit of a more robust flavor. And I'm actually going to add a little bit of ketchup, which obviously that's not going to go poorly with French fries. Everybody knows ketchup goes really well. But it's going to provide a little bit of sweetness since there's a lot of fat flavors going on in here. So it's going to kind of help balance those just a little bit. You don't want it to taste like ketchup at all. And then I'm actually going to add a little bit of balsamic vinegar because it's going to give just a hint of brightness. Kind of like how our sugar helps balance, giving some acidity helps balance. And it would have been smart for me to already open this. Alright, I got it open. So I'm just going to add just a little bit of vinegar. And a balsamic vinegar is great because it has really nice round flavors and it's got some sweetness as well. So I'm going to add that in. Give it a taste. I'm happy with that. So now let's plate up. Alright, so all the components are all done, so it's time to plate up. So I'm going to get a generous handful of my fries. Oops! That fry couldn't wait to be in the gravy. It said, I'll be in that gravy now. I don't blame it. Alright, cameraman, is that enough fries for you? Great, awesome. So, fries are on. Now I'm gonna, here, now I'll sample it. Yummy. Nice and smoky from that smoked chicken. Get that all nice and smothered in some gravy. And then a traditional poutine would use cheese curds. Well, I don't have cheese curds, so I'm just going to use fresh, fresh shredded cheddar cheese. So I shredded this cheese myself. I like to shred cheese myself because if you notice, shredded cheese always has that kind of powder on the outside. It kind of takes that powder is what makes it so the cheese isn't cake. So if I took this cheese and I did like that, it cakes up really easily, right? So that powder prevents it from caking, but it also doesn't taste as good. Now this is what traditional poutine is, but we're going to take it an extra step. So I'm going to add some of my smoked chicken on top, and that way it'll be a little bit heartier. So it's almost kind of like think like chili cheese fries, right? It's like Canada's version. And then with my little twist. And then I'm going to add a little parsley because it's pretty brown looking. It needs a little pop of color, you know, to pretend like it's healthy. And parsley is pretty, what's the word? It's got a pretty mild flavor, so it's not going to overpower our dish. If you had green onions, that'd be better though. But I don't have green onions, so I'm going to work with what we got. And if I was in a restaurant, obviously I would clean that up, but I'm here in my house, so I'm just going to eat it like it is. I hope that you've enjoyed this demo today. How could you not? It's gravy smothered fries with cheese. So if you decide to make some French fries and smother it with awesome goodness, whatever goodness that might be, please, please, please share it with me. I would love to see it. See you soon.